Hello there everyone and welcome back. I hope everyone's enjoying their holiday season so far, for we're still going to continue on with more Battlefleet Gothic. Or at least I'm going to try and get several recordings in Battlefleet Gothic while I have time, since I've been incredibly busy with some MechWarrior 5 streaming there, doing some co-op, so I'm a little pressed for time to try and get the matches that I know you want to see, the videos you want to see. And I am excited to bring back the Lance Heavy Imperial Navy fleet with the Apocalypse. For hell, Mechanicus is always fun, it goes without saying, but we're bringing that style over, at least a little bit, to the Imperial Navy. We have more durability with the extra cruiser, we have better crew, so we're not going to get murdered by any boarding shenanigans, and we have the ramming spurs and torpedoes to really murder things up close. Only thing we're missing out, of course, on is the Nova cannons, but we still have that to a limited degree in the Apocalypse. And sadly, the Apocalypse doesn't really have the high energy turn to rapidly position itself. It could still be useful if I'm chasing after something. And hell, in all honesty, this fleet has treated me incredibly well at the same time. Since really, in the streams I used to do testing this fleet out, the only real fleet I feel like it would suffer against might be the Tau, just because I don't have a lot of macro cannons and close range firepower to threaten to kill them quickly. On top of the fact I don't really have the speed to effectively just kite the fighters and shoot them down with point defense. At least I want to feel like anyway. And a lot of that of course is due to the Apocalypse being slower. That's another factor. So we'll see if my streak continues. In hell, I did try this fleet for a legendary attempt at the start of the season. It's possible I might be able to get that back up if I commit a few episodes to Imperial Navy, but hell, the main reason I didn't get legendary is because I only got 2 videos a week during my ranked run attempt. So that is probably the main reason we didn't get there, since my Azuyani was almost consistently 3, sometimes 4 videos a week. So we're not going to blame it on the performance of the Imperial Navy. It's just a lack of consistency on my part. But with that all said, let's get going. Alright, Imperial Navy versus Imperial Navy. Although, I think it's very unlikely we're going to have a true mirror match in this sense, since you don't really see very often any Imperial Navy fleets that go lance heavy, let alone with an Apocalypse. It's either 4 battleships, all cruisers, or even all grand cruisers. All grand cruisers even, so those are kind of what you mainly run into. So this should be nice, dynamic, and it does come down to my ability to have the Apocalypse absorb the majority of the fire due to its durability and resilience, and then the Dictators and, well, the Armageddons. Jeez, I almost forgot what kind of battle cruisers these were. They're goddamn Armageddons. I want to say Gothic because hell, they're not even close to Gothics, they're more like Lunars if you compare the two. But either way, there's a lot of ramming potential with these cruisers. And where do I realistically expect them to deploy? That helps a lot with the positioning of my Apocalypse. I suspect the majority are going to go on the right here, maybe smaller, more mobile frigates might go over on the left here. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't want the frigate cruisers so far away from the battleship that they're not going to support them. But I think we're going to be relegating a lot to grabbing these objectives with the frigates, with that said. So it has been a while. Oh, and I'm completely wrong on deployment, which is fine. I can just shimmy these guys around without issue. Maybe we'll see what happens. Oh, I thought I moved the dang frigates. Okay. I hit the wrong hotkey, that's probably what happened. So, now, what do I want to prioritize? Generator always seems like a good idea. Deck with the Kulex's Assassin. And I did not pay attention to how many ships there were either. So with that said, maybe I just launched fighters to reveal them for me. Since there's a reason I have this Dictator in this fleet, and it's pretty convenient, it served me well. It just doesn't lack a lot of firepower to kind of complement the rest of the fleet. But if you get torpedo hits in, that's a different story. Hell, one of the things I continue to miss out on is actually firing torpedoes at the start of a battle. No, I'm not going to go so ridiculous and fire all my torpedoes, especially when you consider these are frigates. But it does offer me some free damage early on that I could probably capitalize on. The only downside is there's this debris that's kind of in the way of my pathing as well. So both attempts to fire torpedoes are not going to be very promising, I won't lie. But what I like the idea of, firing one melted torpedo, and the rest is regular torpedoes. Since if any of the meltas hit, then that forces an emergency repair. Or at least it should, and if it doesn't, well, that sets up a lot of morale damage and even like 9 points at least of fire damage for me.
We wait your command.
So what do we have? Dictator. 2 dictators, so far pretty carrier heavy. I just sadly didn't keep it there long enough to detect the rest. And the sides are turned to me. I might get some decent hits here.
Course engaged.
How close are we capturing objectives? Not really close. 2 torpedo hits, force a fire assault. Although, it's not a lot of damage otherwise, if I were to be honest. But good starting damage. And the frigates are not assault running. That's an important factor too. I would love to try and identify those things with the frigate right now. And since the battleship's detected, why not just boost it forward? That is free damage though, you can't say no to that. Especially if the fire assault's still triggered. If it burnt an emergency repair, that helps a ton. Oh, and you got an Emperor and another Dictator.
Ship ready.
So this is pretty good for me then, as far as trying to set up for this engagement. And once the scanner pulse expires, then I can very easily just hide the gas cloud. I don't think I'm getting subjective tries on might. I don't feel like I will. Oh, never mind. We're gonna get in a moment. Just another 5 seconds. And now we are gone like the wind. Actually, we'll get this frigate over there. I don't see why not. And we got fighters. Unfortunately, actually, I do have cruisers to help, and they're only bombers. I should be golden. The point defense can easily shoot these things down. Hell, the gas cloud actually denied them. Although those frigates are all but denied.
Setting course.
I have shields. I am not scared one bit about this Novacan. Because shields are going to absorb all of it. It is the morale damage that might be felt over time, so I shouldn't get too complacent.
We serve. Understood.
So, we did not prioritize a component on you. That's a little bit of a letdown. And actually, let's try for another torpedo run at this angle. The stasis bomb could time this out perfectly for me. And I am turning away that my Armageddon should be able to still hit them some.
Understood.
Fire everything, actually. I like the idea again of one Melta and then a couple of dumbfire or damaged torpedoes. I just don't have the Dictator to kind of serve as a decent amount of... Wow. What the hell happened there? I don't even think my torpedoes even hit, and that was late. Unless that was latency, that might be the exception there.
Engaging engines.
Alright, disruption bomb, point defense.
Ship ready.
Try and shoot down as many of these bombers as possible. Actually, I was hoping maybe I could cool X assassin, because it doesn't seem worth it to shoot something that might. We might be prioritizing here aboard something that we're going to prioritize.
Execute high energy turn.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Yeah, that was a good hit, wasn't it? And again, it justifies my thoughts on not really. Come on, I did boost with you, right? Okay, I was wondering about that. I was a little bit worried. Maybe I messed up on the controls some. I didn't really have a warm-up game starting up for this video, so that might be why I might feel sloppy, but that's probably just me coming up with excuses again.
We serve.
That's been known to happen.
Setting course.
Just don't ram each other. Finish off the ship here and get ready for another torpedo run.
Burn retros.
There.
Acknowledged.
Now. I kind of just want to destroy the shield of this thing, because I don't think I'm going to do enough morale damage to force it to mutiny again, to take advantage of a deck critical hit. Actually, I'm wrong. I'm about to fire melta torpedoes on it.
Lightning strike successful.
2 sets of melta torpedoes, ideally.
Away.
There. That changes my opinion quite a bit.
Coordinates.
Oh, and the deck's already damaged, so perfect.
Heading acknowledged.
Alright, so that's all she wrote there.
Your orders.
These frigates are suffering horrible defeat.
Aye,
So yeah,
You
fire
have
assaults are starting to kick in. That's
50%
90 points of
strategic
damage for
points.
each one of those once they go through the full duration. I don't need to tell you how much that's gonna
You have
suck.
seized a
On top of the
strategic
morale damage it would be doing if they were able to rally their troops. So this is a nice solid victory. I apologize to our adversary. There was a tense moment where those torpedoes could have done ridiculous damage, and if I were to be honest, maybe there was some latency on their end too, because those torpedoes seem like they did a lot of damage and they haven't quite reached my opponent. I can't think of anything else that would have caused such torpedo hits. So if that's the case, I apologize to you, Master Stu, because I was the server host and I have no way to know if they were experiencing that latency. Because I know for a fact I suffer from terrible latency every now and then, and it sucks. Just ask any Eldari player that has to deal with latency and they're not the server host. They would probably tell you the same thing. Okay, this looks like it might be a rematch with Master Stu. We'll know firsthand if they were suffering from latency or not in that last engagement. Only time will tell, I guess. Because I do feel kind of bad if that was the case for them. To maybe deal with such latency that they couldn't effectively dodge. But hey, we have an opportunity to see it firsthand now. So it's so far doesn't seem that bad. I'm just gonna record this video regardless, just in case it gives us a different kind of experience. Since hell, the first battle could still be tense. It still was tense. If any of those torpedoes connected effectively, then I would suffer a lot. But the fact that they were all dictators and my fleet was close enough together to kind of mitigate that incredibly well, I don't need to tell you how one side that basically failed. They only had ramming and torpedoes to work in their advantage. And even then, we thankfully dodged the one torpedo salvo they tried to shoot at us. So let's give this another go and see
Engaging
if we
engines.
can repeat.
Ship ready.
Although, let's see. It looks very similar to the fleet before. Frigates that are not salt running, interestingly enough.
Enemy sighted.
And are these all the exact same? Looks like a retribution this time, so it's a different kind of fleet. Alright, so we got a real fight on our hands this time, folks. And the reason I like to prioritize engines is it denies them the high energy turn to rapidly position and hit me with torpedoes, if I were to be honest. It may not even be necessary, but even then. We're dealing with 6 frigates and 3... Oh yeah, they're not even all macro cannons.
Your orders.
So I wonder, are we dealing with any kind of light cruisers in this fleet?
Understood.
That's what I wonder. And what I'm going to try and do is crisscross these torpedoes a bit, to make it a little bit harder for them to dodge when they fly right at me.
We wait your command.
We'll see if this works as well as I'm thinking. I don't really do these long-range torpedoes very often because I like to preserve ammo for especially on limited charge abilities, but
We serve.
when I have 6 charges, that's not a big issue. You would think, anyway.
We
Now,
serve.
Falchion, I don't know where to put you. Torpedoes, sadly, are gonna likely miss. And apparently I didn't even
Ship
fire with
ready.
all my torpedoes either. It seems like one torpedo salvo never went off. That's weird. Moment of truth. Melt the torpedoes. And sadly only one hit there, so that forces a
orders?
repair. And the reason I like that is
The
it's
enemy
kind of
has
in
seized
time
a strategic area.
for when I'm ready to start shooting at them. So they don't have emergency repairs or anything for next
Changing
engagement.
course. Burn retros.
Now, let's get this arc all
We
figured out.
wait your command. Burn retros.
And try this again.
Underway.
This time I want to fire almost everything. I just want to make sure arc's appropriate for what we have in mind here.
Acknowledged.
I'm wondering why I only have 3 torpedo salvos,
Setting
so
course.
either way. We are now engaged. Oh, and they have light cruisers. I didn't notice them earlier. Maybe I timed so perfectly, but
You have
yeah,
seized
there
a
are 4 of them.
strategic
It just
area.
looks so tightly clumped. Maybe there are only 3?
We serve.
I am just a little concerned if that's true or not. If I were to be honest.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Alright,
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
so grab the point, fire Nova Cam for good measure, and you are stuck in a stasis bomb, I'm
You have
afraid.
seized a strategic area.
And you still didn't dodge the stasis bomb, alas.
Ready. Fury interceptors in flight. Heading acknowledged.
2 torpedo hits. 1 on the flagship.
Engaged. Setting course.
So keep hitting this thing hard.
Ship ready.
And hopefully you're turning. No, dang, group order again. Group order was keeping it from turning, so that's unfortunate.
Orders.
And your shields are about to go down, I'm afraid to say.
Engaging engines. Brace for impact.
Now, emergency repairs have been
Ordnance
spent.
acknowledged. Maximum burn.
And I do have shields still.
Your orders.
Execute high energy turn. Ship ready.
Now, sadly, the Apocalypse not in the best position, but we got some good fire results.
Underway.
We have the ramming here, and you are basically dead right now from the fire results.
Aye, Admiral.
So, we'll just stasis bomb them and get ready for another attack run.
Changing course.
Because now here comes torpedo run of some kind. Which, thankfully, is not a big deal.
Impossible, Admiral. Burn retros. Course engaged. Enemy ship crippled by the lightning
Torpedoes,
strike.
can you hit? Not hard enough, alas.
We wait your command. Setting course.
But we got some good torpedo salvos with that said.
Serve.
I just burnt out a lot of my combustion gauge for that maneuver.
Ship crippled by the lightning strike.
Aye, Admiral. Course
So I do have the
engaged.
brace for impact to help a lot here. And only 1 took the torpedo hits. In 30 seconds. Sadly, 30 seconds is quite a long time.
Ready. Changing course.
And did I hit? I think I hit with the Nova cannons. My opponent just lost focus there a bit.
Starhawks loaded and set.
You have accumulated.
Now I need to
25%
actually prioritize
strategic
targets. That's a big
points.
important factor here. I want a mutiny on the 1 ship here once it gets close enough to the flagship.
Your
And then
orders.
everything else will get murdered by torpedoes.
We wait your command.
Ideally.
Coordinates acknowledged.
Let's see, your repairs are up, so engines are good there.
Assault crews report success. Understood.
Force
The enemy
another
has
mutiny, if you
accumulated
please.
25% of strategic points.
And you probably are too close for a torpedo to hit.
Aye, Admiral.
Just gotta be careful of, again, said
Acquiring new
torpedoes.
vector. Underway.
Which, there's no torpedoes there.
We serve.
That is breaking. I have rally. And the flagship in a good position for said maneuver too.
Our boarders have caused internal damage.
And sadly, I have no torpedoes available.
We serve.
Let's finish this up. Stop toying with our opponent some,
We wait your command.
because torpedoes are about to come back up, so I want to clear the ship for that maneuver.
Understood. Your orders?
There, perfect.
Engaging
Nice double
engines.
whammy is always satisfying.
Acquiring new vector. Ship ready.
You have
So,
accumulated
Dauntless is down.
50% of strategic
That's gonna
points.
burn to death, basically without question. And I have a Colexus Assassin on whatever I wish to board,
Lightning strike successful.
which is probably this one ship, although it's mutinied already, so never mind that fact.
Heading acknowledged.
Reloading.
I have 20 seconds until I recall, so, or rally. And thankfully that works out well, because this one mutinied ship
Understood.
is going to continue flying towards my flagship, so I'm fine with that.
Heading acknowledged. Aye, Admiral.
Definitely a lot more tense of a battle. So I'll give you the respect you deserve, Master Stu, but the Dictator fleet did not serve you well against direct weaponry and a good tight formation that can easily deflect your bombers. And they had a lot of ramming potential, although it's only a 25% boost, unless that's bugged as well to retain its old value. It's hard to say nowadays. It's been a while since there's been a patch update. I don't even know if the orc bugs with the torpedoes and the sap upgrade there has been fixed or not. So there's a lot of things I have to check on, because I really would like to play with the torpedo zap centric type of fleet, because I feel like it has some true potential with the cumulative effect. Just my own current fleet, I can't remember what this 6 smashes, I think has a 12-second duration if it works as advertised, because I have 2 saps on each one of them. And that is devastating, considering that's 12 seconds of them having a 50% slow, on top of a tractor cannon, and all that other goodness. Let's hope that's fixed for a future episode. Alright, Space Marines are here to play now, and, well, we got boarding damage to concern ourselves with, maybe. It's a question if they're using battle barges or the strike cruisers. And the strike cruisers without doubt are going to be a lot more difficult to hit with torpedoes, unless I'm in the close range engagement where they can board me heavily. And good luck trying to hit with the Novacan as a bonus there. That's going to be tricky, but if it ever does connect, the fact that it ignores armor is going to be a big deal for crippling any battle barges at least. Now, how do I best want to do this? They don't have morale, so I'm kind of getting rid of the Colexus Assassin for the armor piercing. More than likely. Although I have such little macro cannons, that's kind of, I would argue that's not necessary either. So I'm wondering if I want extended sensors to be able to engage them really early, kind of like how I've been trying to use this for Chaos. Ramming spurs, which again, that's only 25% increase, so that shouldn't be a big deal. And other than that, maybe a mission dissipator is the only other thing that might be useful here. But for actual damage potential to kill them quickly, that'd probably be the power rams. Because again, these Armageddons only have a single macro battery to their name, so it's not beneficial here. I really would like just to extend the range to help keep the frigates safe a little bit, so they don't have to blindly get in their line of vision since I do have pretty good range on my turrets at least. And they don't have much of shield, so I shouldn't need Disruption Bomb. And they have Disruption Overcharge with that said, so you would think the Supercharge Void Shield would kind of be pointless as well. So where are they likely to deploy? Well, if it's Double Battle Barge, it's probably a Micro Warp Jump, so I'll have them split up, so that probably doesn't do me a lot of favors either. Time to find out and see.
Coordinates acknowledged.
So far,
Enemy sighted.
I do have to pay attention to speed. Alright, so Double Battle Barge maybe with 2 frigates. Because they can afford a strike cruiser, but not really anything else if they go for strike cruiser.
Lock on target.
And I want lock on, and that's going to work really well against the frigates. Okay, now I was wondering why I could still see them, and that explains that.
Orders?
Ceasefire.
So I think my main plan is to kill the
Changing
frigates as
course.
quickly as possible. Alright, so there's probably a 3rd frigate of some kind.
Ship ready.
If that would be my guess at the very least. And
We
I kind of...
serve.
Let me just use these fighters to help reveal these frigates a bit.
Engaging engines.
The more firepower can launch on them, the better, and ideally, again, if these are battle barges,
Coordinates acknowledged.
I have a good opportunity to kind of soften them up a bit.
Course
I just got
engaged.
aimed this properly. And melted torpedoes
We
are
wait your
always a
command.
big deal, since forces emergency repairs and all that.
Ship ready.
You have seized a strategic area.
Okay, that I can say for certain is
Enemy
for
sighted.
salvos.
We wait your command.
And fighters should last long enough, and hell,
Understood.
well, I do have boring torpedoes to possibly worry about, so let's not
Enemy
get too
sighted.
ecstatic just yet.
Targeting enemy vessel.
Although, again, it looks like my torpedoes
Your
are
orders?
conglomerating
The enemy
together
has seized a strategic area.
in a very weird display.
Enemy sighted.
So, their blips are also visible, but I should get some decent hits in. I just have no way to know how many of those are actually hitting.
Ship ready.
Well, that answers that question, doesn't it?
Burn retros. Changing course.
Now, let's get
The
ready
enemy has seized a strategic
for this
area.
follow-up shot. I hate that the silhouettes are disappearing, because now I have to pay attention to this little itty-bitty mini-map to even know where they are, and let alone almost impossible to know where they're going. I should detect them shortly,
Heading
though.
acknowledged.
And so far, there's only one ship there.
Underway.
Okay, that explains that.
Aye, Admiral.
So I don't need to concern myself just yet.
Setting course.
You have
We did
seized
some
a
really good
strategic
damage on the one
area.
battle barge, so that's what I want to continue, but I want some confirmation of
Changing
its
course.
heading. That's the only reason I don't want to shoot the one in the beak objective right now. It's
Heading
making it
acknowledged.
incredibly difficult for me.
Enemy sighted.
Sadly, the damage was not as impressive as it could have
Ship
been,
ready.
but
Coordinates acknowledged.
I do have torpedoes to overwhelm it. They're both
We wait your
lance-centric,
command.
and I do have
Fury interceptors
fighters
in
to help
sight.
with this.
Engaging engines.
Although I aimed that poorly, I should have gave the fighters so much more time.
Your orders?
Because again, we're forgetting about dang
Understood.
short burn torpedoes after all.
We serve.
And that easily boosted away. To no surprise.
Your orders?
But it's also a flagship, so maybe we can get some free hits on it.
Underway.
Since so far these ships have not been revealed.
Burn retros.
And if I could kill
Aye,
that thing, that's a
Admiral.
nice bonus for me.
Course engaged. We wait your command.
Can we kill this thing? That's the dream right now, I would like.
Coordinates acknowledged.
Your orders?
And that only took shield damage, so I don't
Forward.
expect much from that.
Underway.
but we are going to reveal him in a moment.
Maximum burn.
Ship ready.
Because this has plenty of health, it is going to get hit by lances, so
Enemy sighted.
We wait your command.
let's focus on... Actually, the Apocalypse can shoot at that and just get this thing protected, ideally.
We serve.
As long as they're hitting me with
Setting
lances, I'm good.
Aye, Admiral. Your orders? Changing course.
Alright, just get that out. It's sadly going to be pretty slow, but a Kulex's Assassin is going to be a big deal. Actually, let's prioritize weapon. I don't know if that's going to work in my advantage or not, but...
Underway. Aye, Admiral.
we have fighters,
Understood.
and I'm ready
The enemy has
to
seized
ram
a
this thing.
strategic area.
All ahead full.
Yes, no Kulex's Assassin, that's an important factor here.
We serve.
And I sadly just nearly rammed myself.
Your orders? All ahead, full. We wait your command.
Now kill this thing effectively and get ready for another attack run.
Impossible, Admiral. Ship ready.
Cause yeah, my ships are quite spread out, so I need more torpedoes for this.
We serve.
And 14 seconds until my torpedo run here.
Acknowledged. Understood. Execute high energy target.
Not all that impressive damage, I will admit, but
Understood.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic
we are in a
points.
good position to kill this thing right now.
Aye,
Because
Admiral.
this still has board. Well, I thought it still had boosters, but guess not.
Aye, Admiral.
And that should continue to burn to death.
Your orders? We wait
And I
your
should have
command.
fired the plasma bomb first, in all honesty. That would have been a good idea.
Burn retros.
You have accumulated 25%
And
of
actually,
strategic points.
just let it get out of there, then I'll rally with it.
Setting course. Heading acknowledged.
We serve.
There.
Course.
You're on all sorts of fire. Now let's stop playing with our food. Because we have objectives to grab.
Engaging engines. We serve.
So I'll take this hit pretty well. As well as possible anyway. Reactivate you.
Setting course.
And that thing is just dead man's walking. It's all sorts of fire.
Engaging engines.
It's... Unless it can repair, that thing just dies to the fire results. I want to be so bold as to claim.
Coordinates acknowledged.
But let's help speed it along, shall we?
You have accumulated 50% of strategic points.
Alright, now let's grab objectives and, well, I gotta stop fooling around with my control, but
Aye, Admiral.
nice solid victory.
Starhawks loaded and sent.
It definitely can easily snowball it against me quite well. Aww.
We serve.
I don't think that's like a good
Changing
game
course.
sentiment or anything like that. I'm
We
going
wait
to
your command.
get that kind of impression.
Course engaged.
Well. What can you do? Actually, is that captured?
Ship ready.
I don't know.
Underway.
I don't know. I'm still paranoid that this is saying I like this game is a negative sentiment.
The enemy has accumulated 50% of strategic points.
Enemy sighted.
You have accumulated
Alright.
75% of strategic points.
I will be honest. I'm still a little bit paranoid on the sentiment, what they were referring to, because after all, it's hard to understand the context in text form. After all, especially when that could have easily been a big victory. It felt like it could have been a big victory, but they did miss out on probably the disruption overcharge. That was a big oversight there. That could have helped a ton. Arguably, I would go so far as say they wouldn't even need disruption bomb if they went with the disruption overcharge. So I'm curious what happened there, if I were to be serious.